Hello, everyone. Welcome to the newest edition on the Couch with the Dogs Board. And today we have another special guest, like always. She is a professional actress, a film producer, a lover of music. In particular, she's actually a DJ. I am talking about the second actress that we have interviewed on this show, Miss Tekiria Kelly. But I'll let her introduce herself the way she would like to.
Hi, my name's Tekiria, or TK. I'm a young actor, filmmaker, DJ based in Jacksonville. Um, Great to be here. I've got a short film that just got submitted into the LOL Jax Film Festival that will premiere in a couple of weeks on August 3rd. So I'm very excited to be talking about that, and I'm excited to be here with you.
Excellent. And I know the viewers and the listeners are going to be excited to hear it. So, just before we get into the short film, let me just ask this. Please, if you wouldn't mind, tell, our listeners and viewers about your acting history. Like, how did you get interested in the world of acting?
So I have been acting for, at this point, the majority of my life. I started out in my childhood. I'm very fortunate that I really got to do a lot of things before I landed on acting. I was in sports and dance and tried out a bunch of that sort of things before I went to an performing arts camp when I was about, I want to say 9, and I got bitten by the bug, as they say, when we had done a production of Annie with a bunch of the kids, and that was my first real introduction to acting and theater and musical theater. And since then, I honestly have been acting ever since. I went to performing arts middle school, high school, and I also studied acting in college. And along the way, I've just learned a lot about the art form, the industry. I've learned a lot about myself. And I've been now opening up myself to doing more things outside of acting, which things like DJing that ultimately help make me a better overall artist. But yeah, I'm doing it for a very long time.
That's excellent. So, what has been some of, let's say, the professional roles you've done? As I know, you've done plays before. So, if you wouldn't mind, could you speak about that a bit?
Sure. So I will say I haven't done Broadway quite yet. I've done some off-Broadway shows. A show called A Sketch of New York I did off Broadway in New York. Um, I did, honestly, mostly I was doing a lot of short films and film and TV work in New York. I worked on The Godfather of Harlem. Um, Worked on a little bit, even doing on the production side, working on shows like God Friended Me. I believe that was on CBS. And Kidding, that was a show on HBO. Um, Godfather, Godfather of Harlem, I believe, was on Epix. And then I did a couple of short films with friends that I met along the way in New York, and worked on some independent short films out there as well.
That's excellent. I know a lot of people don't know that getting into acting can be a pretty difficult thing, especially for those who aren't really interested in it from a craftsman standpoint.
Mhm.
So, and I can obviously tell that you love the craft of acting because that's
Mhm.
what's really neat in order to for your skills to
Yeah.
shine. So, but let's start tackling your short film that's coming up.
Mhm.
It's co-produced with a part of Harville, And the short film is called Work in Progress. If you wouldn't mind, could you please speak about that? Because I know people would love to hear about it.
Definitely. So I'm really, really excited about this project because I feel like it's the most personal thing I've ever done. It's written by my best friend and in this short film. His name's Philip Harville. He directed, wrote, co-produced the short film, and basically what it is about is me and him basically playing ourselves, and it's sort of a meta concept where he comes to my house and he proposes this idea that we make a short film for our local film festival, which is, of course, what we ended up doing. But the plot is also that, and we're playing ourselves. So, very meta, but we wanted to make something that, of course, first spoke to us as artists who have been in the major cities. He was living in LA for about 6 or 7 years, and then I was in New York on the opposite coast, working for 6 or 7 years. And the pandemic actually brought us both back home to Jacksonville, Florida. And we would meet up a lot and have conversations about what it meant to be an artist, and how stagnant we felt, and how stuck we felt, and just all of the things that go through your mind and your life when you, especially when you decide that you are going to be an artist very early on in your life, like we did. So we met in high school at Douglas Anderson School of the Arts, and the film sort of touches on that a little bit. It's a comedy, but it touches on feeling very stuck when you're an artist because of your own expectations that you set on yourself because you want to be the best that you can be, but that in and of itself can create these borders and barriers that can stop you from creating because you're stuck in this idea of wanting to always be perfect. So we came together, thought about the script, thought about a bunch of different ideas because we knew that we wanted to create a short film for the local film festival because we felt like we needed something to push us to make something. And the short film was about a month out from when we actually shot, wrote, directed the whole thing. We had about a little less than a month's notice to complete it, and we were just going through all these ideas, and we decided, yeah, let's just make a movie about us and where we're at right now, and that's what we made. And it's I think funny. I might be a little biased. I think it's funny, and more importantly, I think it just speaks to the artist and all of us that wants to make really great things, but can get stuck in that um, and that method of feeling like you need to be perfect in order to make something instead of just making something. Yeah.
Wow, that is very interesting, and I know a lot of people are going to be interested in see it. So, from a production standpoint, what are some of the, let's say, difficulties, especially with being a black female producer? What are some of the difficulties that, let's say, you've had to go through so far?
Well, I'm very, very new to producing. So it's something that I had my mind set on for a few years, but I think because of maybe imposter syndrome, every producer that I knew or had heard of was a white man, and so of course I that didn't naturally come into my mind as something that was a viable option, I'd say, because I didn't see a lot of representation of that. And I think through seeing people like Lena Waithe and Issa Rae, amazing women, Black women that have took their careers into their own hands and produced all their own stuff that really inspired me to just go for it. And I felt like this is a great time to spread my wings and make that happen this go round. This is like a very, I don't want to say small, but the stakes are very low with what I produced because it was something that, like I said, we heard about this local film festival. Me and my producing partner knew that we wanted to make something for it. And we literally just said, hey, let's work together. Let's make this happen. He was really good about connecting with other people in the film community in Jacksonville. And had I have a great apartment that's great for shooting. So I provided the location and helped out with some of the writing. And for this to be my first project that I've actually been a producer of, I'm really proud of it. I'm really excited, and I'm just excited to grow in the field of producing and seeing where it can take me.
That's excellent. So, concerning the festival, when is the festival, or more specifically, when is the film supposed to premiere?
Yes, so the film is a part of LOL Jack's short comedy film festival. It's going the festival itself is going to be Saturday, August 3rd and 4th. Our film will be showing on Saturday. And for anyone that can't make it, we are going to upload it onto YouTube the next day. So August 4th, that Sunday, you'll be able to catch it on YouTube. Hopefully you like it, you identify with it. Hopefully it inspires people to make their own projects. And yeah, it should be really fun for all of our friends and family and like-minded artists to watch on either day. You'll have an opportunity to see it.
I'll definitely be watching it too. But
Yeah.
if yes, ma'am. But let's also get into you brought up DJing. So explain, what is it like being a DJ? How did you come across that?
So, I consider music uh, probably my first love in life. I love music. I connect with music in a deeper way than most things in my life. It's really like acting and music are like my two things. And I've always been proud of my musical taste. I always thought I had like a good ear. And I was in New York for a while, and I love to go out. I love to dance, and I saw some of the best and worst DJs in the world. I think I was really fortunate in that way, and I always wanted to. I always thought, oh, that would be cool to if I could learn how to do that. But I did not pick it up until the pandemic, where my uncle had a spare DJ controller. That's where the little portable turntables. He had one laying around, and it's a pandemic. I'm literally not doing anything else. There's no work. There's no anything happening. So I thought this is a great time to learn a new hobby. So I was mostly self-taught. My my boyfriend, my partner, he is a musician and a music producer. So he helped me with some of like the groundwork of like uh, the basics, and then I was pretty much self-taught from there. And I am having a lot of fun with it. It's really awesome because acting is a medium that pretty much requires other people to be involved, and that's one of the downsides of acting. Being an actor, you need other people to to do it. And DJing is awesome because I don't need anybody else. It's just me and the board and music, and it allows me to just sort of like enter another dimension with just me, myself, and I. So I'm really loving it.
Many people say, and I agree with this, that black people, we are the most creative people in existence. So,
Oh yeah,
so, so any form of being able to be creative, and especially if you can be creative in something that you can monetize in your own way, is always good.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's fear. I say go let deeper into your motivation. How would you say your family has been supportive of you in your endeavors, and especially when it comes to your acting?
Wow, that is a great question because uh, the older I've gotten, the more people I've met, the more I realize like just how truly fortunate, how blessed I am to have been gifted with the family that I have. Like my entire family, my mom, my dad, my grandparents on both sides, my aunts, uncles, cousins have all been so supportive of me as an actor. And even though you know they to be an artist in any medium, whether it's music, dance, anything that you do, once you decide that you want to be an artist full time, um, you it can feel very isolating because the majority of the world doesn't work that way. They don't choose that path. It's unconventional. And so most of the time you only feel supported and understood by other artists. Uh, but I have been given the great gift of being supported by my family, and always um, they've always been there for me, whether it's going to a show that I'm in, or sharing a show, or just giving me advice to keep going. I really couldn't do any of this without my family, and I feel incredibly blessed to have the support of my family, particularly my mom, who works in social work the majority of my life, and working in nonprofits. But she's always been involved in her community, and she acted a bit when she was younger, and she really like passed that along to me to like go for my dreams and stick with them. And I mean I couldn't ask for a better support system.
Wow. And I'm glad you said that. I know your mother, and I know that how important it is to have a good support system and building a good foundation of what you're doing. That can be, to some people, it can make or break their entire drive. So that
But
is something that is very, very good. But now, what would you say were some of your experiences with being a up and coming black actress in New York City? Because I know that is they say in that city, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. So what has
right.
been some difficulties in living in New York City attempting to be a black actress?
Well, first of all, living in New York City in general is like not for the weak. That city really like kicked my butt every other day, but I had the most fun there. And I mean, it was hard. It was really difficult. I had so much fun. I learned so much about myself because the amount of times that I felt broken by the city and by the industry that I was attempting to break into was hard. It's just there's so many people that want to act, and there are but so many parts. So ultimately, it I feel like that's what drove me to where I'm at now, where I've just understood that I need to be in the driver's seat of my own career, because so much of the system of like going to New York, auditioning for a role, which first of all, getting an audition is in itself very difficult. Like I feel like that's probably something that doesn't get talked about a lot, that isn't understood by the masses. Is like if you get an audition, even that is a win, because you don't even get invited to auditions very often, because there are just, thousands and thousands of actors that are going out for the same roles. So it was really important to me to try to find my tribe, find my community, where I felt like I could be myself and grow. And some place that was really very helpful for me was I went to this improv school called UCB Upright Citizens Brigade. Fortunately, because I'm a Black woman, I got to go through a lot of the courses for free because I was on a diversity scholarship. And that allowed me to meet a lot of different people. And some of those people are like very, very successful and working right now. And it's good to have build a network of people that are in your same boat. Uh, but I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was really, really hard. I learned so much, and I'm still learning so much. I'm still like very much so green and trying to break into the next level, the next phase of my career, I should say. Um, but that's hard. I'm really happy that I'm now in Jacksonville, which is something that I wasn't excited about when I first moved back here, because it was this is my hometown. It's a place I never thought that I would be back. Uh, I did not think that I would ever have moved back here, but extenuating circumstances of global virus will will change things. And now that I've been here, the more I realize like this was like completely ordained in my story. Like I was supposed to be in New York to learn what I learned, and I'm supposed to be here now, learning and growing and making projects. So I mean, one definitely feeds the other.
The quarantine got to be very particular with how you say it because the sites will actually demonetize or edit parts of your video out if you say it the wrong way. But the quarantine has really changed a lot of people's lives and not in such a good way. So I'm glad that you were able to still steer your life in the right direction, even with that being said. But
Right.
I'm going to ask you this: how would you compare the food to New York to Florida?
Oh wow. To be honest, okay, so obviously like we've got the soul food down. Like I did not find a lot of great soul food while I was up there. But because it's such like a global city, like you have literally people from all over the world that live there and open restaurants. And so the food, I mean, that you can get there is like unmatched. There is a reason why New York is a food capital, because I mean, you can get anything you want: Chinese, uh, Italian, Spanish, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Nigerian. Like I like living in New York. You get to try food from everywhere. It's like having a passport every time you go to a different restaurant. Like the food was insanely incredible. I miss it every single day.
I've been there myself. To be honest, I thought the food overall was good. So I'm glad that you had that same experience. But how would you say the filmmaking scene in Jacksonville is different from the filmmaking scene in New York?
Um, it seems so. Again, I'm very fresh to the scene out here in Jacksonville. Like this is really like my first introduction to the community out here, with us making the short film and it getting into the festival. So I'm actually hoping to get like an even better insight of the people and the community out here. Uh, from what I've seen at this point, it seems like um, a place. I mean, it's like it's a smaller it's a smaller scene, of course. You know, New York is New York, and it's thousands and thousands and thousands of filmmakers that are in a varying degrees of or varying stages of their careers there versus here where really most of the people that are making films because they truly love to make film and they have 9 to 5 jobs on the side, and that has its own groove and rhythm, and it's been very interesting because so me and Philip that made this short film, we do what we do. We're actors, we're writers, but we, at the end of the day, like, we're not, we're not DPs, we're not director of photographers, we're not sound people. There's a whole production side of filmmaking that is just as, if not more important than the writer and director. And we were really fortunate that we got connected with our DP, Justin, who was just so patient with us, and he had all his own equipment. He shot it with us. He offered his ideas, and it was like a really great collaborative process that I'm not so sure would have worked the same way in New York because people are so fast paced and so like have their own things going on. He was able to give us so much. We learned so much from him in the like 2 days and 2 weeks that we had known him and worked with him. And that part I feel like is really indicative of how the scene in Jacksonville is. Like, he is like a wealth of knowledge, and he was so eager to share that with us. And we're super, super lucky to have met him, and I think there's a lot more of people like him in this community than probably New York, if I had to guess.
That's excellent. But I'm going to ask you a question that I'm pretty sure many people may have asked. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what are some of the celebrities that you've met when you were living in New York City?
Oh my God. So many. I like forget the amount of people that so met is not a huge number. I met Rose McGowan. Uh, she's the only one that's coming to me as someone that like I had a conversation. Oh my God! Of course, Jill Scott. Jill Scott was my favorite. Jill Scott. I was on set with Jill Scott for this show, and she was like a beautiful, magnetic sun. Like, she beamed light. She was incredible. Um, I've seen in close proximity being on sets with Will Smith, Nicole Kidman, John Mayer. Uh, Megan Good. I saw my last time that I went to New York. I saw Megan Good in that person. That was cool. Uh, yeah, those are the ones that are coming to me off the top of my head.
Wow. So now that we're going to start going into the closing,
Mhm.
I want to just ask you this. Where do you see your career when it comes to not just acting, but including your DJ career when it comes to artistry and entertainment in, let's say, 5 to 10 years?
Mm. I see. That's a great question because if you would have asked me that like 10 years ago, even I would have had such a clear picture of that. And now that I've been doing this so long, like, I realize I see myself being happy, being a working actor, producing my own projects, and working with other directors that I really love and respect. People like Barry Jenkins, Issa Rae. Um, I can't think of his name right now, which is killing me. The the guy that directed Black Panther and Fruitvale Station, Ryan
Ryan
Coogler.
Coogler.
Yeah, yes. Oh yeah, that's my guy. Working with Ryan Coogler, and then working with my friends who I know are um, super talented in directing and writing. And I just want to, I see myself working with great people, with me finding my voice, strengthening my voice, and being confident in myself as a writer, director, producer. Um, yeah, I just see myself making a great living, being able to take care of myself and my family, doing what I love, and being able to like DJ some cool parties from time to time, maybe a boiler room set, and with my DJing, see that happening. Um, yeah, and more theater. I haven't done theater in a long time, and that's like my first love. So definitely doing some really cool plays in Atlanta, London, New York. I see all of that. Chicago, all of the above.
Excellent. But before we close, I would just like to ask, do you have anything you would like to ask us, ask the viewers, say to us, say to the viewers?
So I mean, what made you start this channel?
I'm glad you actually asked that. So essentially, the Dogs Board, we started doing what we were doing back in really 2017. The vast majority of the content that I've created is written. You know, I specialize in Black history and nerd culture, well,
Mm-hmm.
which is Black nerd culture. So I
Mm-hmm.
started writing articles and things. Eventually, ideas came up for me and some other individuals to start a podcast, and then but I wanted to start doing interviews, to start having people on the podcast and interview different Black professionals, be it actors, actresses, let's say people who just had stories, like people who, let's say, like one day I plan on interviewing cancer survivors and different
Mm,
people who've been through different situations. You know, we've interviewed professional actors before a few years ago on the show, professional chefs, everything of that nature. So then we decided to start making video versions of our written content every so often as well. So
mhm,
all in all, I wanted to create a brand, but really just a form of business that aligned with the concept of educating just people around the world, but in particularly Black people on themselves, their history, and what makes us us. And it's been a journey to do that, and I enjoy it. But
yeah.
I've enjoyed it, and that's what started this. And like I said, that's part of the reason why I wanted to interview you, is because you, especially as a Black female entertainer, you know, actress and DJ, you have a certain perspective that
Mhm.
many people may not know. So I'm glad you asked me that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me. It's so cool.
Yes, ma'am. You are very, very welcome. But if that will be all, Miss TK, where can they follow you in your work? Through the different social media platforms.
Yes, so my Instagram is at Tekiria, Tekiria. Also, there is my DJ page is linked on my bio, and that is at DJ Kelly Monet. I've just recently started uploading some of my live sets. There's more to come with that. Um, if you want to email me for any questions or any kind of inquiries to work, my email address is takirak@gmail.com. So don't hesitate to reach out for anything creative related. But my Instagram is where you can find most of what's coming up with me.
Okay, excellent. And for those who heard that and interested, as always, the visual versions of those profiles will be in the YouTube version of this. So once the YouTube version is and uploaded, will be there. But as you know, as always, the streaming and down will be coming out first. But if that is all, ma'am, I highly thank you for coming and for gracing us with your presence.
Thank you for having me. Hope to talk soon.
Yes, ma'am. I do as well. But if that is all, everyone, Doc and TK signing out.
Later.